Veronica with Nurturing Connections Homeschool.com, where I share encouragement and planners and free printables to help you connect with what matters most. Now today's video is an answer to one of the questions I received on a previous video, and I was asked about our morning time loops, and so I thought I'd kind of pull together some resources and kind of give you a big overview on what is looping, when can you use it, how to use it, how we've used it in the past, and how we're going to be using it in this next term as well. So I hope it's an encouragement to you. I hope it gives you some inspiration along the way. And if you have any further questions, please make sure to drop them below. I find these questions really helpful because then I can create content that is meaningful to you and helpful to you. So thanks for those questions, and let's get started. So what are morning time loops, or what is looping in general? I first found out about looping in Sarah Mackenzie's book, Teaching from Rest. So if you have not read this book, it's a quick read, but I highly recommend it. I will link it below. This is a book that I have read multiple times. It's an encouragement to me. I have found it encouraging because it really reconnects me with what is most important. It was a big part of the inspiration behind my website, behind my bucket planning system. It was trying to get to that place of true connection with my children, of letting go of all that extra pressure to keep up and look a certain way with our homeschool and do things a certain way. It just really gave me that little encouragement I needed to let go and to really embrace the Lord's will for our home, our homeschool, and our family. So she has a number of ideas here, some really practical things to consider. She does talk about, praying for the Lord to give you your marching orders and just relying on Him each day and just really walking in faith and trusting Him with everything. So I have found it very encouraging. In here she talks about loops and what they are. And so basically the way a looping schedule can work is it is for subjects that are not going to be covered every single day. So if you have something like math, for example, or English language arts and reading, those are things that you may want to cover every day. And so those will go scheduled either on an agenda or in your lesson plan book or a checklist, whatever you use for that. But loops are things that you want to cover with your kids, but you don't have a specific time frame involved. You don't have the pressure of I have to do it every single day. You don't have the pressure of having to do it on a certain day. So for example, sometimes we can schedule things on Mondays. So on Mondays we're going to read our feelings book, for example. And on Tuesdays we're going to read our read aloud. And on Wednesdays we're going to read a picture book. And so you can tie things into certain days, but the problem with that is if you miss Mondays because of doctor appointments or something comes up on Tuesday and it happens enough times, you start falling, I don't like to use the word behind, but you start missing out on one of those key pieces every single time. And so with a loop, you're not tied to a specific day. You just do the next thing. So we use loops all the time in our morning time. This is a time that we gather together as a group. I have a 9th grader, a 6th grader, and a 3rd grader. And so this is a time that we come together for discipleship. In the past, we've done a number of things like history and science lessons together, or art. We've done emotional well-being and things to just kind of help them with life skills and those types of things. And so having that huge idea bank can sometimes feel very overwhelming. It's exciting because you have all these things you want to cover, but then feeling that pressure of I have to do this, I have to do that all at the same time is when things can tend to get overwhelming. And so what I've done for myself is put together this bucket planner. I have a ton of videos on this. You can go check them out on my channel. But I went ahead and used this as my idea bank. And so, for example, I have discipleship here, and I have the goals that I wanted to cover for discipleship, and then a list of resources. There it is. It's kind of hard to tell. There it is. So a list of resources that I wanted to cover. And so those are the types of things that will then go into my morning loop. I'll just pick a couple for the term and say these are the ones we'll go through, and then we just do the next thing until we finish it. One of the things that this has helped me see is that homeschooling is not 1 year. It's plenty of time. There's many, many years. You don't have to do it all now, and letting go of that need to do it all at the same time. When we see these great ideas out there, we want to jump into this, we want to jump into that, and I used to find myself with so many books and so many things and then just get really irritated and frustrated because I couldn't get through it all, or my kids wanted to talk about something else and I wanted to do this over here, and it just really helped me let go and really embrace the moment, really enjoy that learning process with my kids, not feel so rushed all the time, and know that we were working toward our goals here. So I pull the ideas from my idea banks in here, and then I plug them into my yearly plan, and then each term I glance over that and say, okay, which books do we want to cover now? Which activities do we want to do? And those go into my morning time loops. Now, the way the loop works is you just list the activities or the books that you want to read in order that you want to go in, and then you just loop through that over and over and over again, however many times you get to do it throughout the week, throughout the month, until you finish a book and you start the next one. And you just keep moving on. So you're never behind, you're always right where you need to be, and you're always moving toward your goals. So some ideas for that. I went ahead and put together my Term 5 plan here. There it is. And I use this from my Home Plus School planner. So here under Get It Done are the things that we will do every single time we gather together. So we meet 4 days a week since the kids have co-op 1 day a week. And what we cover is we start off with prayer, we do our read aloud, and then My Father's World creation to the Greeks. So we just do the next lesson in My Father's World for our read aloud. We just continue on with the book we're reading. As I mentioned in the last one, we're reading through God's Smuggler, and so I just put in a little sticky note. We stop about 10 to 15 minutes in, and then we just pick it up the next time and keep going. So I have a list here of the other books that I plan to read this particular term. So when we finish God's Smuggler, we're going to read a Brave book. So I have a collection of Brave books that I subscribe to, and we're just going to read the next one, talk about it, enjoy it. We're still working through James Herriot Treasury, and then we'll dive into The Giant Killer, which is a new novel that we'll be reading. So I listed those there. It's not necessarily a loop, it's just a check off box area, but those are the things that I want to target this particular term for our read aloud. Then I have the loop right in the middle here. So our first loop is recitation. So this is memory work. We've been doing memory work since the very, very beginning. We started off with classical conversations our first year and just saw the importance of memory work and how with it just 5 to 10 minutes a day, the kids can have a ton of information stored in their brains that they can draw from or build upon throughout the years. So we do recitation every single time we gather. This could be skip counting. So I have these skip counting sheets that I've shared in the past. These are all free on my website, by the way. So if you go to Member Freebies and you just plug in your email and then go in there, you'll have instant access to this. So you can actually just print them out, create a little folder if you'd like. And we use the songs from classical conversations, but you can use anything. So we've done the math, skip counting as part of our memory work. But right now our recitation is going back over the Bible books. So we're memorizing the Bible books, and then what I'm doing once a week as well is we're going a little deeper into them with these cards that I found on the Daily Grace Company website. And so basically each card just gives a little overview of that particular Bible book and what you'll find there. So I went ahead and put together these little printouts for the kids with each Bible book, and we cut them out. We read from the card, and then we're just putting some key ideas. So this is an example of Genesis. They just glued it on there, and then what will you find in Genesis? Creation, the fall, God's plan for redemption. So just some key points there. I just started these morning time notebooks. I wish I had done this earlier, but I got these, I guess, 3 subject notebooks, and I'm just plugging in like Bible stuff. We're just going to put it in one section. We've talked a lot about feelings and emotions and emotional health and well-being. This is one of our books that we used also from the Daily Grace, called Created with Emotions. I really like this one. And then the kids would make like these little flip books of the different types of emotions. What happens when they feel that way, what are some things they can do to handle that emotion in a healthy way, and then they just kind of put their notes and things like that. So anyways, we're just kind of building on this, and I like that it just has all of the learning we're doing. It might be kind of a little bit mixed up. Some of it might be categorized appropriately, but at the end of the day, it's this record of all our learning and thoughts and conversations in one place. So recitation, it usually just takes a couple of minutes. We just get through it. And then, like I said, one day a week, I do go a little bit deeper with the Bible books. The next loop is God and the History of Art. So I shared that before. This is part of our My Father's World Deluxe package. So we'll do that. Then we have Theology, which is this book. Then we have The Good and the Beautiful. We are doing Health in the Human Mind still. We have a hymn. So I have a collection of hymns somewhere here that I put together. And so we just pick one and we just work on that one for the term, or 2 if we finish it and we kind of memorize it and we keep moving. This is also a freebie on my website if you're interested. A book activity of some sort. So this is something that, depending on what we're reading, whatever ideas I have. For example, when we were reading Heidi, I looked up some things on Switzerland. We watched some videos on Switzerland. We made some food, or some recipes. We did an art project from Switzerland. So those are just some ideas. When we were doing God Smuggler, I went ahead and found one of the Brave books that introduced a little bit more about socialism, communism. It's the Island of Free Ice Cream. So we read this. We did some of the activities. So that's part of our loop. And then games. I love playing games with my kids. I think they teach a number of different skills and sharpen their minds and all of that good stuff. So we try to get a game at least once a week in there where we're competing against each other, showing good sportsmanship, but also just learning some new things together and enjoying time together. So that is our loop. So how this works is, after we do our Get It Done section, then I'll set the timer for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever time we have that particular day, and we'll just work our way down. Wherever we stop, and then the next day we pick up where we left off. So for example, on one day we might just do recitation, God and the History of Art, and that might be it. And on another day, then we'll continue with Theology and The Good and the Beautiful's Health in the Human Mind. And then we might stop there. And then the next time we might do our hymn, our book activity, and a game. And if there's time, we might continue on to the recitation and then stop there. And so we're just looping through these over and over and over again throughout the term, making progress in all of these things, but we're not tied to a specific time frame. And so with that flexibility comes that opportunity to enjoy it a little bit more, to dive in a little bit deeper, to take our time and not feel that constant stress that we have to get it done. Doing things this way means we're not enslaved to a curriculum and their time frames. And so we use curriculums as a tool. We use the books that they share, the ideas that they share, but we try not to lock ourselves into their time frame unless it works for us. But if it doesn't, looping is a great strategy that gets us through it. And at the end of the day, does it really matter if we finished it in 1 term or 2? Does it matter if we completed all of U.S. history in 1 year or a year and a half or 2 years? No, it doesn't matter at the end of it all. The point is that we're learning together, we're growing together, and it's meaningful for my kids. So that's how we use our loops. This is an example of the loop that we'll be doing now. What other things I listed on this page just as ideas? Oh, I had looped here that I had listed some ideas for the recitation. So once we get through the Bible books, if we finish within the term, then the next thing we'll go through is our timeline and wanting to make sure that they're memorizing that particular hymn that I chose here. And then I just put some ideas for like field trips, things that we can do, take walks and ride bikes and those types of things. So this particular handout goes on my easel right behind me so I can see it. I just work my way down and then I'll flag wherever we leave off. Now, another example of how we've used looping somewhat is in my children's student checklist. So this is an example of my daughter's for 3rd grade. I just used this from the bucket planner and I listed all the things that I wanted her to do. So there's some things that she'll be doing every day, for example, like a math lesson or reading lesson and those types of things. But there's certain things that I wanted her to loop through to get that additional practice. So it doesn't have to be done every day, but it's something that should be done consistently so that she can get that additional practice. So examples of that are like doing an extra workbook. So I have a workbook from a previous math year that she just kind of does as extra drill practice. So we call those math drills. Sometimes she'll do her flashcards for multiplication. We also do extra math, which is a free online practice for math drills. It starts them off with addition and then it goes into subtraction, multiplication, and division. And so we loop through those. I plug those in on various days. There's some days that she has 2 things, sometimes 1. And we use this checklist like a giant loop, basically. So they just do the next thing. This isn't Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This is the next time we do school, you do the next thing, the next time, the next thing, and so forth. And so then we just set our goals along the way. We want to complete X amount of days by this month, and we just move along. But that is basically it for looping. I hope that's answered your questions. If you do need some further clarification, please feel free to ask your questions below. If you want to see more ideas on the resources we've used in the past during our morning time, I have a number of term updates that are on my channel. You can go check those out from last year. It's like term 1 update, term 2, and all of those things. So you can see all the different resources that we've looped through and worked our way through using this particular planning strategy that has been really helpful and kept us on track. So I hope that helps. Let me know on your way out. Please give me a thumbs up if you found this helpful, and I hope to see you here next time. Thanks for watching.